The ball seemed to hang in the air for an eternity, a leather oblong spinning against the backdrop of 71,101 stunned faces at University of Phoenix Stadium. For Tom Brady, watching from the sideline with the season ticking away, what unfolded next would become the defining nightmare of his otherwise flawless career. "I'm watching the ball flutter in the middle of the field," Brady would recall years later, the memory still vivid. Rodney Harrison is right there on the play, goes up, hits the ball, hits the helmet, and the guy catches the Fucknar's ball on his helmet. In that single, physics-defying moment, when New York Giants receiver David Tyree pinned a football to his helmet with one hand while being tackled, perfection died. The 2007 New England Patriots, who had stormed through the NFL with an unprecedented 18-0 record, who had redefined offensive dominance, who stood just 2 minutes from becoming the first perfect team since the 1972 Miami Dolphins, watched their immortality evaporate in one miraculous play, now forever known simply as the helmet catch. This was not merely a Super Bowl loss, it was the theft of a legacy. The Patriots had dominated the league with a brutal efficiency that season, with Brady setting records with 4,806 passing yards and 50 touchdowns, posting a staggering 117.2 passer rating. They were a juggernaut that had crushed opponents by an average of nearly 20 points per game, a team so dominant that their victory in Super Bowl XLII seemed like a coronation rather than a contest. The Giants, a wild-card team that had barely scraped into the playoffs with a 10-6 record, were 12.5-point underdogs. Yet in the crucible of those final minutes, the narrative of invincibility crumbled. The helmet catch represents the ultimate what-if in NFL history, a play that forever altered the legacies of everyone involved and created a paradox where the greatest individual season of Tom Brady's career would be remembered not for its triumphs, but for its most spectacular failure. To comprehend the magnitude of the fall, one must first appreciate the unprecedented heights the 2007 Patriots had reached. This was not just a great team. It was a football machine that seemed to have solved the sport, combining Bill Belichick's tactical genius with Brady's precision execution at its absolute peak. After 3 Super Bowl victories earlier in the decade, the Patriots had transformed from a defensive-minded team that won with efficiency to an offensive powerhouse that won with overwhelming force. The addition of Randy Moss, who caught an NFL record 23 touchdown passes that season, created an explosive downfield threat that complemented Brady's rapidly maturing game. Wes Welker provided the perfect safety valve underneath, setting a franchise record with 112 receptions. The Patriots didn't just beat opponents, they demoralized them, scoring at will, and often running up scores in a way that critics called merciless, but that reflected their relentless pursuit of perfection. The regular season unfolded as a coronation march. They won their first 8 games by an average of 25.5 points. In Week 11, they faced their toughest test against the 10-0 Indianapolis Colts and Peyton Manning, their chief rival. Brady threw for 255 yards and 3 touchdowns in a 24-20 victory that felt more like a statement than a game. As the wins accumulated, the conversation shifted from whether they would win the Super Bowl to whether they would be remembered as the greatest team in NFL history. The 1972 Miami Dolphins' perfect season, 14-0 in a different era, loomed as the final frontier, the one accomplishment that had eluded every team since the NFL adopted a 16-game schedule. The Patriots weren't just chasing a championship, they were chasing immortality. Brady himself was at the center of this hurricane of excellence. The 6th-round pick, who had once been an afterthought, was now the unquestioned leader of a team redefining what was possible in professional football. His transformation from game manager to offensive force was complete. His 50 touchdown passes shattered Manning's previous record of 49, and his 117.2 passer rating was otherworldly. He executed the offense with a mechanical precision that seemed immune to pressure, his decision-making appearing almost prescient. As the playoffs arrived, the Patriots dispatched the Jacksonville Jaguars and San Diego Chargers, bringing them to the precipice of history. The New York Giants, whom they had narrowly defeated 38-35 in the regular season finale, stood as the final obstacle between New England and football eternity. The atmosphere in Glendale, Arizona, for Super Bowl XLII crackled with historic potential. The Patriots were not just playing for another championship, they were playing for a place in sports mythology. A win would cement them as arguably the greatest team in the history of American professional sports. A perfect season in the free agency era, something even the legendary 1972 Dolphins hadn't accomplished with their shorter schedule. The Giants, meanwhile, embodied the opposite ideal. A team that had barely made the playoffs, won 3 road games to get here, and now stood as the only thing between New England and football immortality. The stage was set for coronation, but the drama was about to take an unexpected turn. The game unfolded not as the offensive showcase many had predicted, but as a brutal, defensive struggle. The Giants' defensive line, led by Michael Strahan and Osi Umenyiora, harassed Brady relentlessly, sacking him 5 times and hitting him on countless other occasions. The Patriots' high-powered offense, which had averaged nearly 37 points per game during the season, found itself stuck in neutral for 3 quarters. When Brady finally connected with Randy Moss on a 6-yard touchdown pass with just 2:42 remaining in the game, it felt like inevitability finally taking over. The Patriots led 14-10, and the perfect season seemed preserved. The Giants got the ball back at their own 17-yard line with 2:39 left, needing a touchdown against a defense that had largely contained them all game. What followed was a drive that would become legend, culminating in a play that defied both physics and probability. The Giants methodically moved down the field, but faced a critical 3rd and 5 from their own 44-yard line with 1:15 remaining. The Patriots were one stop from perfection. In the huddle, Giants quarterback Eli Manning called 62 Sail Y Union, a play designed to get a receiver open downfield. What happened next was anything but according to plan. The snap came, and almost immediately, Manning was engulfed by Patriots defenders. Richard Seymour grabbed his jersey, Jarvis Green had him by the shoulder, and Adalius Thomas closed in. Manning somehow slipped from their grasp, backpedaling and scrambling as the pocket collapsed around him. "I don't know how he got out of there," Fox announcer Troy Aikman exclaimed as Manning emerged from what should have been a certain sack. Downfield, David Tyree, a special teams player with only 4 receptions all season, abandoned his original route when he saw Manning in trouble. He cut toward the middle of the field, finding open space at the Patriots' 24-yard line. Manning, still retreating, launched a desperate heave toward Tyree. What happened next unfolded in slow motion for everyone watching. Tyree leaped, extending fully as Patriots safety Rodney Harrison, also in the air, closed in coverage. Harrison swiped at the ball, knocking Tyree's left hand away. Somehow, Tyree managed to press the ball against the top of his helmet with his right hand, maintaining control as both men tumbled to the ground. Harrison pulled at Tyree, but the receiver maintained his grip, the ball seemingly glued to his helmet until they hit the turf. The gain was 32 yards. The Giants had new life. The shock on the Patriots' sideline was palpable. Brady, who had been watching with the expectation that the defense would seal the victory, later admitted the psychological impact was immediate. "After that play was made, I was a bit concerned would probably be the word for it," Brady would recall. 4 plays later, Manning connected with Plaxico Burress for a 13-yard touchdown with 35 seconds remaining. There was still time for a miracle, and Brady nearly delivered one. With 19 seconds left, facing a 3rd and 20 from his own 16, Brady launched a bomb to Randy Moss that traveled almost 70 yards in the air. The pass was perfectly placed, and for a moment, it seemed the Patriots might snatch victory from defeat. But Giants cornerback Corey Webster made a last-second intervention, and the pass fell incomplete. The perfect season was over. The Patriots' 18-1 record would forever carry an asterisk of what might have been. In the immediate aftermath of Super Bowl XLII, the football world struggled to process what it had witnessed. The Patriots, who had seemed destined for immortality, were left with the most hollow 18-win season in sports history. For Brady, the loss was particularly crushing. "When you lose this game, this is on your resume forever," he later reflected. "A loss in the Super Bowl matters more than any loss you're ever going to be a part of." The helmet catch became an instant legend, with NFL Films founder Steve Sabol calling it the greatest play the Super Bowl has ever produced, and an insult to physics and Albert Einstein. It would be named the play of the decade for the 2000s and later ranked on 3 in the NFL's list of the 100 greatest plays in league history. The question of why this happened, how the seemingly invincible Patriots fell to a team they had beaten just weeks earlier, has multiple layers. From a tactical perspective, the Giants' defensive line dominated New England's offensive front in a way no other team had managed all season. The 5 sacks on Brady were the most he had endured in any game that year, disrupting the timing and rhythm that had made the Patriots' offense so lethal. The Giants controlled the line of scrimmage, something that was thought to be impossible against New England's veteran offensive line. There was also an element of sheer improbability to the play itself. Manning later called it probably the luckiest play in NFL history, noting with irony that "no one really blocked anybody, I'm almost sacked, just kind of rolled out, throw it up for grabs, and David Tyree catches it off his helmet. That's how we drew it up in practice. I never thought it would work, but sure enough, it did." The convergence of factors, Manning escaping certain sacks, Tyree being in the right place, the catch mechanics themselves, suggested a once-in-a-lifetime fluke. For Patriots fans, this made the loss even more galling. They hadn't been beaten by a better team so much as by a statistical anomaly. Psychologically, the weight of perfection may have finally caught up with the Patriots. The relentless pressure of answering 19 narrow questions, the target on their backs from every opponent, the scrutiny of their every move. These factors created an environment where anything less than victory would be considered catastrophic. While the Patriots had handled this pressure magnificently for 18 games, the mental and physical toll of maintaining perfection may have left them more vulnerable than their record suggested. In the critical moments of the Super Bowl, it was the Giants who played with looser, more desperate energy, while the Patriots seemed tight, waiting for the play that would secure their legacy rather than seizing it. For Tyree, the catch represented the pinnacle of a career that would never see another reception. He missed the following season with an injury and played just 10 games in 2009 without recording another catch before retiring. He would forever be defined by a single play, a remarkable ascent for a player who had been primarily a special teams contributor throughout his career. The helmet catch became his entire football identity, a moment of glory so bright it eclipsed everything else he accomplished in the sport. The shadow of the helmet catch would linger over Brady's career in ways both painful and paradoxical. Even as he added more Super Bowl victories to his resume, the memory of that February night in Arizona continued to haunt him. Years later, he confessed that fans still taunted him with reminders of the play. I'm at the Knicks game with my son and Spike Lee. I throw him a ball and he catches the ball on his head like the helmet catch, Brady shared. I mean, that was 17 years ago, and I'm still living that thing down. The play had transcended sports to become part of popular culture, a reference point that would follow Brady long after the sting of the loss should have faded. Yet, in a strange twist of fate, the helmet catch and the loss it represented may have ultimately fueled Brady's relentless pursuit of additional championships. The pain of coming so close to perfection only to have it snatched away created in Brady an even deeper hunger. He would later win 3 more Super Bowls with the Patriots and another with Tampa Bay, finishing his career with 7 championships, more than any player in NFL history. The man who had been denied a perfect season responded by building a resume so decorated that the absence of that 19-0 campaign became merely a footnote rather than the defining feature of his career. As one fan noted, I feel like the Pats winning 3 SBs and making every AFC title game from the 2011 to 2018 seasons made it easier to get over it. The relationship between Brady and Manning would also be forever shaped by this moment. Though competitive, a mutual respect developed between the two quarterbacks, with Manning later joking about the play in a social media exchange with Brady. When Manning posted a photo of himself holding a large fish with the caption, "Cute minnow Tom," in response to Brady's fishing photo, Brady fired back, "You use a helmet to catch that one too?" The good-natured jab demonstrated that even the most painful sports memories can eventually become sources of shared humor between competitors. Ultimately, the helmet catch exists in that rare space of sports mythology, a moment that meant everything and yet, in the broader context of Brady's career, meant surprisingly little to his ultimate legacy. The 2007 Patriots are still remembered as one of the greatest teams in NFL history, their regular season dominance unquestioned, even without the perfect ending. Brady's individual performance that year, the 50 touchdown passes, the MVP award, the sheer offensive brilliance, remains the standard by which quarterback seasons are measured. The helmet catch didn't diminish Brady's greatness. It simply humanized it, reminding us that even the most perfect campaigns can be undone by a single moment of imperfection. In the end, the helmet catch stands as both a triumph and a tragedy, depending on which sideline you occupied that night. For the Giants and their fans, it represents the miraculous, the impossible made real. For Brady and the Patriots, it remains the ghost of what might have been, the single play that cost them immortality. But perhaps this duality is what makes sports so compelling. The understanding that on any given Sunday, physics can be defied, dynasties can be denied, and a single catch can change everything. The helmet catch didn't just cost Tom Brady perfection. It gave us a reminder that in sports, as in life, there are no certainties, only opportunities for greatness, and sometimes for heartbreak.